I started drinking at the age of 6 years, and then it came out of control when I was 14. Because when I was 14, I used to drink almost every day. My grandmother used to sell alcohol, and then she had this belief that when you drink at an early age, then when you grow up, you won't drink. So at the age of 14, they were still selling beers from here. So I used to steal the beers or the money so that I can buy myself some wine. Ugogo wami was also an alcoholic. Nabo malume bami bonke bebaphuza. Like bekungekho kade omunye yabona lamakhaya ukuthi endlini wonke umuntu uyaphuza. Akekho kade urong umunye because sidakwe sonke yabona ukuthi akunamthetho. I-alcoholism ingaffectile kakhulu emotionally, and ezinye izinto like bengumuntu okhohlwa, like ukukhohlwa, to forget things like nespeed, and then even my physical appearance bengekho so bese ngingasengenye indlela because bengazinakekeli. Mangiphuzile bengenza izinto ezingaqondakali nje, izinto bengiba violent, bengine-anger, and then bengi-abusive futhi towards family yami nama friends ne-partner yami ke. My partner found out I was cheating on him with an old guy who used to buy me alcohol every day after work. So he's the one who suggested I go to AA. Baphuze but babe responsible. Umuntu angaphuzi over the limits because izinto eziningi zayenzeka during festive season, like nama fights unnecessary. Mabazama ukuthi mhlawumbe baphuze babuye nganeno bazilimite.
And on that note, we want to say hello, Dumelang Sanbonani, South Africa. A very warm welcome to Expressions. This is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala.
And I'm your host, Dumqolisi Wagamasango. This is again from our headquarters in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. Now, it's that time of the year again, Mundomosha. Now, this is a season to be jolly. Got again, with all that merry atmosphere comes the unfortunate irresponsible behavior rather. Now, alcohol abuse and reckless driving. Now, many of the alcohol consumers are underage drinkers. I'm Kanjik Expressions of Siabuza. Is the government failing to curb underage drinking, Jackie?
Well, that's a very important question because alcohol consumption hits peaks during festive season. Now, the government has sent a stern warning to youngsters as well as their parents, saying that there will be zero tolerance for anyone contravening the Liquor Act. Now, the Liquor Act prohibits the use of alcohol by people under the age of 18.
So, Jackie, before we discuss this pressing issue, here's another powerful story that shows how detrimental underage drinking can be. Do take a look at this.
2003, I think maybe I was 16 or something. And when I got here, I think I was 15. And then when I got here, because of the circumstance at home and the situation at hand, so I was forced to friend abantu aba in similar circumstances. So the friends that I friended was kids who smoked weed. And then it started like that in 2003, just by smoking weed because of the crew I was rolling with, because of the circumstance. I can hustle with them because yo care, so you know, and then I could befriend these guys because they're the only guys who could relate with the circumstance that I was going through. For me, it felt good at the time because I was also young and naive. Understanding that you have dreams and you have goals in life. And then now your lifestyle and the goals you have and the vision you have in your mind and in your spirit doesn't complement the lifestyle you live in the present moment. So growing up and maturing and understanding who I want to be in life made me realize with age, this is not the life I want to live. Every Saturday, every Friday, we're out there, we're drinking, we're partying, we're doing the drugs, it's the chicks, the honeys. We're doing everything that we can at that particular moment. So friends got killed, and I also nearly got killed like a couple of times. So it's just like crazy now. So I felt like, okay, in this life, it's not gonna work out for me because other friends of mine went to rehab, they came back, they ran away from home, manje abunyaupe boy, and then I look at it and I'm like, nah, these consequences, nami I'll end up dead or in jail or unyaupe boy.
Some powerful words there, young person, giving us a lot of food for thought on this all-important conversation that we're having tonight. But I'm not having this conversation by myself. I am joined in studio by my guest. My first guest is Ayanda Alipane, who is the Department of Transport spokesperson. And I'm also joined by Melody Mia, who is a motivational speaker. Lady and gentlemen, welcome to Expressions.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you so much for being here. And of course, they say the best things come in twos. And of course, my co-host Mxolisi is going to be manning our social media corner and of course, bringing some of your insight on this also important conversation that we're having. So make sure, go on our social media pages and let us know what you think about this topic. So Ayanda, maybe let me start with you. I mean, you know, this time of the year is called the silly season, right? This is where alcohol consumption will hit its peak. We want to find out from you as a spokesperson for the Department of Transport, what strategies, what programs you have in place to ensure that you curb underage drinking this time of the year.
Thank you very much for that question, Jacqueline. I mean, as a department, we're hugely concerned about underage drinking for a number of reasons. Firstly, of course, if someone is intoxicated or inebriated and they walk across the road, their reflexes are not that good. So their chances of being knocked over by a vehicle are quite high. Secondly, we know 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, they know how to drive these days. You drive a vehicle, you crash, you kill someone, or you kill yourself, you injure other people, you have a criminal record. The list is endless. So what we do as a department is we have preventative measures. We don't just want to punish them after the fact. We're in schools, we're in all manner of social places, trying to bring that message home, to change perceptions about road safety so that it becomes an everyday thing. If you know that you're feeling intoxicated, if you can afford an Uber, Uber. If you can afford to sleep over where you are, rather spend the night and only leave the next day. So those are some of the conversations that we're having. But when it is after the fact now and you have drunken one too many and you're on the road either as a pedestrian or as a motorist, best be sure that you are going to get caught. We are on this 24/7, 365 road safety tip. Visibility, police are going to be everywhere throughout the country this festive season. Rather tell your friends and your friends' friends, do not drink and drive and do not drink and walk either.
Yeah, well, I think it's this time of the year where we need to have designated drivers. I think, Melody, we know that, I mean, our country is the 6th largest consumer of alcohol in the world. South African children are drinking from the age of 10 years old. I mean, this is definitely a huge issue. So we wanted to find out what needs to be done differently. Because, I mean, season after season, year after year, minister after minister, there are always all these campaigns. What can we do differently to really make a dent in this and have a different trajectory for underage drinking?
I think this conversation brings in the parental guidance, the environmental space that we are creating. I mean, you'd notice that kids start drinking because we see our uncles or aunties to be pools. So pools was a comfortability element whereby you see it and you kind of start living that lifestyle. To say, when I grow up, I want to be the uncle that owns a BM versus then the uncle that drinks a lot of whatever consumables. And I think we need to be more aware of the spaces we drink in with youngsters. We need to find, if adults want to have the adult beverages, let there be a designated area that grants them the privilege of doing what they need to do, but without encouraging indirectly the kids. Because I honestly say that the biggest problem is drinking is something that is a sport nowadays. You know, but in this season, when people close at work, it's like sports is a drinking thing now. And it's like, but we need to change that element. We need to change that. When school closes, let's show kids that there are festivities that grow our minds instead of limiting our minds in our spaces.
And maybe let's, I want to say again, let's talk a little bit around the state of readiness, right? I mean, law enforcement is a very important component around making sure that underage drinking is curbed. So we know that if our law enforcement officers are able to deal with these delinquents, if that's the right way to put it, we are able to make a difference. So maybe talk to us a little bit around that. Are you going to be at hotspots?
I am so
festivals?
glad that you asked that, because, you know, part of what we want to do as a department is to change perceptions about road safety, like I mentioned. So we are going to be everywhere, almost literally. On Thursday, Minister Mbalula will be launching the road safety campaign, the 24/7, 365 wire, which means it's over and above the festive season. It's over and above Easter, because that's when we see increased visibility. Minister Mbalula this year, in his 6 months in office, has been at the Vodacom Durban July. He has been at Makufe. He has been at, what did I say, you know, soccer matches and all these other places, so that people understand that when we are in gatherings where consumption, you mentioned, which now it's a sport, you know, when we're in social spaces and there is drinking, you must know that equally there will be law enforcement. So young people must know, wherever you go, 16, we are there, we'll be there with you. If you are going to be drinking, if you're drinking as an underage drinker, that's already breaking the law, right? That's another department that's going to deal with you there. But if you are permitted to be driving on the roads, do so responsibly, because if you are found to be breaking the laws in any way, shape or form, including driving under the influence of alcohol, you will be arrested.
Sure. Okay. So those are very stern warnings, obviously, coming from Ayanda. I think as a young person, we want to say that beyond the festive season, beyond December, there's still life, right? So please, can we just be responsible? And I really hope that you are taking all the advice that we're giving you tonight on Expressions, just so that you can actually be alive to see 2020. But that's what we have for you. For now, we're going to go to an ad break. We'll be back right after this. You are watching Expressions.
I guess Pinde Sinbingela Snamgele, you still watching Expressions, and this is your hashtag #1 Youth Current Affairs show. Namhlanje kusehla we talking about underage drinking. Siyabuzag, is the government failing to curb underage drinking? I'm now joined by Usisu Kagesontoy, who is a recovered alcoholic. Well done and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great to have you on the show. Let's just quickly have a look at this WhatsApp note.
Hi Expressions, I'm Zintle. Regarding today's topic, I really think that there's only so much that the government can do, and we are deflecting by putting the responsibility on the government. I think really now is a time that parents and us as a community, we are more stern on places that sell alcohol, and we are more stern on setting our boundaries for the youth and underage drinkers. It's on us.
Okay, Siskache, so njoba uyizwele ukuthi WhatsApp note ithini. Mina ngifuna ukwazi ukuba mhlambe ukuthi what led to you being a heavy drinker. Ngoba sike sikhulume ngomehluko ukuthi khona umehluko phakathi kwe binge drinking kanye ne occasional drinker ukuthi uzothi ngiphuza ngeChristmas iphela. How did it start with you?
The first time I drank, I was still I think I was in grade 8 when I started drinking. I drank, it was Christmas, and the day that I drank, I blacked out. Yeah. So I had no idea that I had a problem with drinking, that my body is not like other people's bodies. And then I drank the other year again, which it happened the same thing. So I was never an occasional drinker I was a binge drinker. It took me time to even realize that I have a problem with drinking because I used to binge. You know, I'd drink only on weekends. During the week, I'd be a normal citizen. Comes weekend, I drink and I just cannot stop.
Wow, bosegu grade 8 when you had your first drink.
When I had my first
So
drink.
siswami njoba ungixoxela le story sakho ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi mhlambe yini into eyakwenza urealize ukuthi usudinga usizo manje pheqelezi your light bulb moment that made you see ukuthi maybe I should stop.
It was after I've lost so many jobs. I've lost my jobs. I've lost everything that I worked for, you know, and I was a violent drinker as well, you know, and when I was told that I drink a lot, I did not understand and I did not believe. But today I know that when somebody says you're doing something too much, you know, then I really should have a look at it. I started behaving in a very strange way because I'll drink and break windows, you know, I'll drink and do all sorts of things. And I remember when my boss first warned me that you're drinking too much and you're going to lose your job. In my mind, because I'm the person that I am, I'm an alcoholic. In my mind, I told myself that I'd rather lose my job rather than stopping drinking.
Oh, siswami. Umsucabanga kanjalo. Mhlambe khona nabantu abasha abaningi ababukile expressions njengamanje bahleze emakhaya bathi ayisuka ngiyaphuza because the festive season angisiyi isidakwa, because there are some young people who are saying that. What would you like to say to them?
I'd like to say to them, in fact, it's not all of us esiba nenkinga ngotshwala, you know, asifani singabantu. Mina, I got that from a certain organization that I had to force myself into because I couldn't stop drinking on my own. So ngakhona ukuzithola ukuthi mina ngiyinhloko lo muntu lo ongafani nabanye abantu. Bakhona abantu abakwaziyo ukuthi mase ngiphuzile, this is where I stop, you know. It's enough, I can have coffee after this and then go home. I mean, I was the type of drinker that would actually, I remember when I bought my first car, I bought it because I didn't want to walk around and people seeing me that I'm drunk and I'm so I'd rather drive myself home, you know, which was also not safe. So, abantu nababukela khona manje bengizosho mina ukuthi uyibheke the way uphuza ngakhona, because ngeqiniso asifani singabantu. Bakhona abantu abakhonayo ukuphuza iglass lewine alishiyi, kodwa mina bengumuntu ohlukile, angihambi utshwala bungakapheli la ngikhona.
Oh. Sis Ayanda, I think this is the point where I also need to bring you in. We speaking about, you know, the point of having you here was that alcohol is responsible for most of the road carnage during festive season. Jobo Suizwele no Sisa, I know some of the sentiments that came through from social media here to young people saying, you know what, I can just give law enforcement officers a cold drink, I can bribe my way out of it, and then I get away with it. What are people's rights when it comes to roadblocks? Are they able to videograph that? And maybe you can answer both those questions briefly.
Thank you very much. And I must just commend her for her honesty, because she's one of the few people who will come on television and say, yes, mina being dagwa, and get behind the wheel of a car. We see so many young people who are not as lucky as her who are able to tell her story today. So many young people have been buried this year alone from not only driving under the influence of alcohol, but getting into a vehicle where the driver is inebriated. So it is absolutely dangerous. Do not do it at all, especially this festive season. If that's what you used to do in the past and you used to pay ichocho and bribe your way out of it, gone are those days. There is a new dispensation that is here now, and trust you me, the end for you will either be jail or it will be a coffin.
All right, so you're definitely cracking the whip there. Again, Bugeli, do we still have time for 2 social media comments? Well, let's just quickly. Malindi says that true, Sissy, and that fat guy says, I think this matter has nothing to do with government. It has been trying by all means to warn the children who are underage. So it's all up to you, Mbugeli. Remember to always do it responsibly. I guess, remember to keep those comments coming on our social media pages. And remember to tell a friend that the hottest current affairs show is now showing. Back after this.
Welcome back. You're still watching Expressions here on SABC 1. Tonight we are speaking about underage drinking, and the poll question that we're asking tonight is government failing to curb underage drinking? Now, of course, we've had a lot of food for thought for you, Kakai, but of course we have to wrap this conversation up. And I think, Ayanda, listening just to Ukagiso, there's a lot of anecdotes that she sort of left with us, a lot of insight that I think she left with us. What would you like to say to young people during this festive season? Are we just being stuffy and saying they mustn't have a good time?
Look, nobody has said that young people are not allowed to enjoy themselves, or as they say, right? We are definitely saying, have a good time. You are young, you should be free, enjoy yourself, but do it responsibly. I would just like to say, to the youth, we love you. You're not only our future, you're also our present, because young people can do great things even in their youth. We want them to arrive alive. We want them not to drink and drive, not to drink and jaywalk, not to get into a vehicle where the driver is inebriated. They must make sure that they focus on road safety 24/7, 365. It's not only in their best interest, it's in our best interest as a country. We don't want to be robbed of future leaders tomorrow because of the bad decisions that they made today.
Absolutely. And And Melody, just some food for thought. So.
Look, I want to say, Mina, I'm a person who kulele uma oni tavern kwamashu. I grew up there, but I've learned something is that where you come from is not where you should end up. Yes, I might have grown in the house, but I didn't become that. Here I am today. But here's the thing. Every time you drink and you have your fun, remember one thing. What are you risking in your life? Are you risking your life by getting sick? Are you risking 18 years of education, your degrees that you went and studied for? What are you risking? So my heart says, please look at the quality, look at the value of the things you're risking, because by you drinking and driving and dying, what are you thinking? So my encouragement is, take it home. What are you risking?
And are we also saying that there's a problem with alcohol? Are we saying like alcoholism is the problem? Because what I picked up with Ukahiso was the fact that sometimes there are deeper issues that we need to deal with. So again, what do we say to young people around that?
I think in and of itself, alcohol is not a problem. It's the way you interact with alcohol. Do you know your limits? If you're going to be driving, do you know that you should not be drinking at all? A point, you can change sana. If it's a group of 5 that you're in and you're over the age of 18, you can say, no, 16, I'm the designated driver. You know, but 26, you're the designated driver, so I'll have a drink then. 31, you're the designated driver. Make it a sociable thing. And we, I think, as society, need to start making it unpopular for people to drive. Masi hang out to Sonkasisa Club. Sibonuguti how you're driving, Jackie, but you're drinking. We must make you feel uncomfortable. We must look at you and say, how dare you? So until we have that culture as a society, we'll continue to see road fatalities in the numbers that we're seeing.
No, absolutely. And unfortunately, we have to leave it here. But I think you've given us so much food for thought. I just love the insight that you've sort of given us tonight. I mean, honestly speaking, we're saying to young people, just be responsible. And please, if you are below 16, right, Ayanda, you're underage, ne? You cannot be drinking. Over 18, ne? Don't go there. That's what she said.
All right, again, Bugeli, is government failing to curb underage drinking? About 60% of you said yes, and just about 40% said no.
So they're doing a good job. That's very good, very good.
All right, again, Bugeli, as you know this by now, we also like to ask you, and this is your suggestion. Roll it.
Hi, Expressions. This is Pele Lisa. Thank you so much for such an amazing show. So for next week's episode, could you please revisit the Miss Universe crowning? She's breaking so many boundaries and truly activating Black girl magic. So I would really appreciate it if you unpack that for us. Thank you.
Wow.
She's made us so proud.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Absolutely.
Bugeli, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much to our guests for coming through as well. Reggie Peace plays us out.
Adios, muchachos. See you next week.
Yesterday, the future is a mystery. So now is all that matters. Now is all that matters. Yesterday is yesterday. The future is a mystery. So yeah, is all that matters. Yeah, is all that matters. You were made to fly. You're meant to play among the stars. It's all up in your mind. What you think can be yours. Just let go of the past. Yesterday is yesterday. The future is a mystery. So now is all that matters. Now is all that matters. Yesterday is yesterday. The future is a mystery. So yeah, is all that matters. All that matters. Thank you, Lord, for peace and love. It's raining blessings from above. Make me understand why I'm so demanding. Make me understand what's my life plan. Sometimes I say it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like I'm not in the zone.